Spread the fire, welcome back to SMWX. Today I'm joined by a guest who's very special to me, someone in whose house I spent many hours making lots of music, an entrepreneur, and of course the father of multi-award winning rapper Kekana, aka Forbes. Uncle Tony, thank you for joining us.
This is Spread the Fire.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for joining us. I have such fond memories of growing up in your house with Kekana and Tlantla, just trying to make something out of this rap idea that we had together. Those were such special times.
Yeah, they were. They still are.
Yeah.
Still very special. I remember those days. Yeah.
Yeah.
As I was driving, I was thinking about, all the things we went through. Those days. The first radio interview. I don't know if you remember on a Sunday.
How could I forget the YFM?
Yes.
Yeah.
We were driving around Joburg while we were listening to the interview.
Yeah.
I think there were 14 songs.
They played nearly the whole thing.
They played the whole album.
Yeah.
And we were just like so much in awe. Hey, we're hearing the boys on radio for the first time.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I'm taking over the interview.
Not at all. Please. This is your interview. And I remember how much support you gave us and obviously Kekana in those days. I mean, number one, the one thing that springs to mind is the Touch and Go music video. We cared so much about that song. And I remember we were at school one day and Kekana came to us and he said, my father says he's going to fund the video. And that was such a special and important moment for us. And of course, that was a song that, has still lived on.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in some ways, if I think back, Kekana and I, we had a bond around music.
Yeah.
And when he was growing up, I did the same as my uncles did for me, which was to play all kinds of music. And, and we would sing and we would dance and we would just have, great fun. And, if I think back to when I was a youngster, in the days when there was no television, I really sound like an old man, which I am. On a Friday night, we would just sit on the floor, at my parents' house in Mitchell's Plain, and we would just listen to music. My mother's favorite was Neil Diamond, that Hot August Night album. I don't know if you know. Your mother will know Neil Diamond.
Exactly.
And we would just sit on the floor and listen to music the whole evening and just spend time together and just enjoy it. And so that's where I come from. Music is in me, and later on with my cousins, Michael Jackson and Billy Joel, and we would sing and we would dance, and in somewhere in my mind I thought it'd be really cool to become a musician one day.
I remember well your famous 5 Series, BMW.
Yeah.
And you would take us to gigs and parties, and you were always ferrying us around, and we'd listen to Cat Stevens.
Yes.
Bread.
Yes.
There was some hip hop that came in.
Yeah.
And I later remember Kekana sampling some of that music that he would listen to in that car, that you would play for him.
So, absolutely. I don't know if you know this artist named Chris de Burgh. He had a song called Spanish Train.
Right.
And whenever we would go on these long trips, we would be singing along to Chris de Burgh or to Queen.
I remember that blasting out.
And we spent so much time, and in some ways, going back to get to the point is, I feel like at some stage I wanted to be a musician. So when it came around for Kekana showing that interest in that, for me it was just giving him all the support that I could give or we could give, not just me, but his mom as well.
Yeah.
And and because in a way he was living probably is the part of a life that I thought I could have. I mean, mind you, I also wanted to be a professional cricket player and a professional tennis player. And I'm still young, you know, there's still time.
You weren't bad at soccer either. I think you showed us some things in the garden one of those days. I mean, tell us a bit about you as well, because a lot of people know you as Kiernan's father. But of course, I know you as Uncle Tony. And back then, Kiernan wasn't a famous superstar. He was just, you know, your son who was in a rap group. But one thing Kiernan always reminded us of, and it was a conversation we often had when the parents weren't there, was how much our parents sacrificed as that first generation to become successful enough during those difficult apartheid years to put us in a position where we could go to a school like St. John's. Talk us through your journey and, you know, how you managed to get to that point where you could give Kiernan the platform to become the person that he became.
I think I was very fortunate. I mean, and I'm grateful that, you know, my father died when I was 3 years old. He drowned when he went in to help his sister, and
Really?
then he drowned, you know. So I'm born in between these two heroes, these great people. I feel the pressure, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, I always had support, you know, in my life. And I grew up in a family where, you know, there were expectations around, you know, that you would become someone. And, you know, it's something, and the way my father died, you know, it made me think that no harm's going to come to me. Only good things will come to me. And it's an attitude that I've lived with for most of my life. And, you know, so I went the academic route, you know, so in those days, I think you guys talked about, you know, like getting the paper. I got the paper, you know, not the money, not the green paper, but, you know, the certificate. So, I mean, like, just a bit of history is I studied computer science and maths. I mean, that was my passion. To this day, I still code. These days, more AI, and I still code Swift apps for the iPhone. I build my own little things. One of my dreams is to win the Powerball, you know, so I've worked on little algorithms.
Really? Nice.
So that's kind of where, and I grew up in an international management consultancy firm, and that's how I got to Johannesburg from Cape Town, and had my own businesses, and that's really how, I guess, you know, I was able to, not just me, but with his mom, we were able to give them something that we didn't have. The thing is, as parents, you always want things that are best for your children, even if they exceed you, you know, and as Kiernan has in you know, with me, in terms of, that's what, I mean, you told me you have a toddler, and that's what you live for.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually remember visiting some of your family in Cape Town when we came here for
First Gear.
Yeah, for First Gear, and Kiernan actually took us to visit some of the Cape Town family, and it was quite.
To my mom's place.
Yeah.
In Mitchell's Plain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
And I believe she recently passed away, which I'm sorry to hear. But it was a special time when we got to meet them and talk them through this dream of doing this rap career, and they were very supportive.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm very much like my mother was, you know, sort of also Cancerian. I'm on the 4th of July. My mom's on the 11th of July. My dad was on the 10th of July. Cairo is on the 8th of July.
Wow.
You know, so we very similar. I mean, whenever Kiernan came to Cape Town, you know, he would call ahead and say, "Hey, call Ma, tell her to make not ask her, tell her to make the roast potatoes and the chicken and all those things there, and the trifle, and then of course we would meet up. And my mother loved it, and through the years, Kenan always ended up, bringing his friends around when he was in Cape Town for work. He would pop in, see this black car pull up, a combi, or I don't know what they call it these days, So one day, little story, Les was with him. And they actually, there's a Liverpool supporters club around the corner.
That's what I like to hear.
Let's take you there. Do you remember we beat you guys 2 weeks ago? Sorry to bring that up.
It's been 10 years and now I meet you again when you've beaten us.
And he went walkabout with Les and they ended up at the Liverpool supporters club. And, and they were greeting people and, so Mitchell's Plain is people always say he grew up in Mitchell's Plain. He didn't really live in Mitchell's Plain, but he spent a lot of time there as a child, and it always had a special place. And the time with my mother and dad, it's like the place where everyone would meet, and special memories. There was actually a video shot there. This is, I can't remember, it was called Bang.
Right.
My mom was actually on that video. They shot it there part of the video, they shot there in that park. Kenny was shooting hoops and the kids were all around. I still look at the pictures now and then.
Yeah.
And I can't remember him. Well, I can, but it seems such a lifetime ago that he was so young.
Yeah.
You guys were so young.
Yeah.
I actually looked at some of the photographs of Entity. I think you were on the mic. Vice versa was on the mic. And do you remember the launch of the album?
Oh, the launch, the famous launch.
What is it called? The Manhattan?
Yeah, at the venue. The venue.
Now it's called the venue, or changed, but it's called the Manhattans.
Right.
Those
that launch was something.
I remember all those. It was the first time, the listening session.
Yes, yeah.
Your dad, your mom, Len, Stefan, and we were all in that. And Luiso, I think he was there.
Yeah, he was there.
We were in that studio there in the Creative Kingdom.
Yeah, in Sandton.
I remember it so clearly. So very often when I still walk in Sandton City and I walk past there and the memories come back, like it's got to go through a little back thing. It's close to the iStore in that passage there.
Yeah.
The radio interview. You guys performed once at, was it Empress Casino?
Yeah.
There's the whole video, the First Gear video. You guys came to Cape Town.
That video.
And it was the first time that I think Kenan sort of left on a trip. And you guys went off for the weekend, it was starting, I mean, there were other memories from that time. You also went on that Australian soccer tour.
No.
You didn't go?
No, I didn't go.
Were you not at the school back then?
I think it was just before I got there. I think it might have been when they were in the junior school.
Yeah, what were the other Entity memories?
Oh my goodness. I mean...
The video,
so many. You know what the abiding memory is? Okay. How long do we have? The one I remember was the first time we ever got to a studio. Remember when we recorded our demo?
Yeah.
Where we had those two songs.
Yeah.
Mechanism and Gotta Be.
Yeah.
And we got there. We got dropped off. It was the three of us and there was just this producer. I can't remember. His name was Vise or something. It was like a home studio in Kensington. Must have been 2003, 4. And it was the first time we had ever, and Kiernan had ever been in a recording studio. And I just remember the sheer excitement in all of us, but especially Kiernan. He was wearing that there was some like Mickey Mouse ice hockey shirt. And I just remember when he went behind the glass and into the mic, and he was just like looking at all of us like, and when I look back at his career, I think how at home he ultimately became in that studio setting. But to have got a front row seat to his first ever journey into a studio was, and when we played the music back for ourselves, we literally were jumping for joy. We were like
wow, is this us?
It sounds like a real song. So that was a memory I'll never forget.
Thank you for sending me Royal School of Hip Hop.
Yeah,
I listened to it on Sunday.
Yeah.
I listen to that music and I think, wow, these boys were talented. And the music, everything sounds great. The music, how it's produced, the mixing, the sound.
Yeah.
It wasn't like three schoolboys, typical three schoolboys with their first attempt. It just, do you remember when I turned 41?
I do. The old Eds.
So at Old Ed's, then I forced you guys. I don't think Kenan was so keen on that.
He said perform Touch and Go.
I made them do a song with me. Do you remember the song? What you gonna do when you're down and out, losing this bout and question what you about? Or what you gonna do when your back's to the wall?
Take it by force.
Take it by force.
Yeah,
that's one.
Yeah, I remember well.
Everybody falls down every now and then. Screw it.
Living wealthier is about securing your financial future. With our offshore banking solutions, you know that your money is making more money around the world while you live the life you love with those you love, here at home. Live a wealthier life with award-winning offshore banking.
I remember so. And at my 21st, the same thing happened, and we performed Touch and Go. That was one of the last times.
Touch and Go.
Yeah. The other thing I remember, Uncle Tony, is how hard it was. I think people thought Kenan was an overnight success, but we put in hours and hours and hours, practicing. We'd practice there by the jacuzzi, by your place.
Yeah?
We just writing. It must have been 4 years of solid effort, even just to get to Royal School of Hip Hop. And Kenan obviously then...
It was not an overnight sensation.
Yeah, we would perform to people who didn't know who we were. we
Krugersdorp. Remember one night we drove to Krugersdorp with Malcolm.
I know, for what? And people
Malcolm X, remember?
I remember. People standing there. What's going on? And we would laugh afterwards, like people just didn't know who we were. There were so many people who promised us things. They were going to put us in a studio. They were going to do a song with us, and we'd come home, and they wouldn't get back to us. But one thing I remember about Kenan also was his grit. So I remember when Touch and Go finally came out, we were in my room, me, him, and Mkhwanazi, and he was just calling people, trying to get it playlisted on MTV Base. And he'd call, and Mkhwanazi and I were like, come on, let's not do this now. He was like, no, we have to get this thing on to, and eventually he called.
But you guys did it.
Yeah.
You went to number one Friday.
Oh yeah, I think we were doing
MTV,
the votes ourselves.
Was it MTV Base? You beat out Missy Elliott. And it was First Gear.
Yeah.
First Gear was.
Yeah.
But I think that, for me, is a lesson for young artists or aspiring artists that it is not. I mean, it's unusual when it's overnight success.
Yeah.
But there's what people, I don't know if people really know that a big part of Kenan's success, and I think it applies to you and Nkla as well, is the work ethic that's required. And it's the lonely hours, the empty hours of the morning, or early morning. Everyone's asleep. And you have to come up with the lyrics, with the words, and you have to find it. It's not like you can sit down and just start coding something or start, doing a piece of admin. it's got to come from within, and you've got to be in the zone. And to be in the zone all the time is difficult, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You at that time, you guys had schoolwork, you had other pressures, and you were doing. And I think if I think back, that's where it started for us. So Kiernan, I think he did a lot of his best creative work at night. The empty hours of the morning. It wasn't unusual to get the 2 a.m. call. I don't know if you got some of those calls early on.
I did.
2 a.m. in the morning. I'm sleeping. The phone rings. It's Kiernan. Dad, are you awake? Like, I'm not awake. But anyway, talk to me.
Yeah.
Then I would get out of bed and I would go to another room and I would say, all right, talk to me. And it's like, he's pumping. Dad, listen to what I did to this song. But obviously there were a lot more other people that got those calls more than I did because of the nature of, collaboration and just coming back to the sampling, the bread. I don't know. I ask younger people, do you know who's bread? And they'll say no. Do you know who's bread?
You played bread for us in the car all the time.
And then I always say, but you must know this song. Baby, I'ma want you. Baby, I'ma need you. Huh? You don't know it? They don't know it. But that was an album. My own story is my first year in work in Cape Town. I worked for, it's now known as Accenture.
Right.
The company. And I was a beast. I wanted to, make a name. So I would work killer hours, till 3 o'clock in the morning. And I remember the Shell House building in Cape Town.
Yeah.
And everyone else is gone. I would be coding. And one night I decided hey man, I wish there's something I could listen to. So I scratched around through some drawers in my manager's drawer. Sorry, Jenny. I know Jenny doesn't watch. I don't know if Jenny watches these shows. Was an old, is it a Walkman?
Yeah.
Walkman with a white cassette. And it was the best of bread. Every night, Caesar, I would listen to that album. I knew the words backward. And I used to play it in my car. And this was in 89.
Yeah.
And I would play it in my car. How old was Kiernan? Was just 1 year.
Yeah, he was 1.
He just turned 1. And but I would, occasionally listen to it again and again and again. And Kiernan loved. So I don't know if people know, the first song on his last album is called Last Time.
Yeah.
And when you listen to it, the first two lines, he took that, he didn't take everything of the lyrics, he took, but the first lines actually alludes to, soon I'll be gone. And when you look at that, what's the chance? The first song on his last album, and it is about, soon I won't be here. So, and that song, it has a different, it's kind of different, the chorus, but I don't know if you've had,
I know it well.
I told you once and I told you before that love's supposed to be something more than a pastime.
Yeah.
This is the last time.
Yeah.
That song is called Last Time, and if you go listen to it now, the original, it's Last Time, and he sampled that the hook on it.
Yeah.
The same goes with there's another song called Fancy Dancer. There's no Everest, no mountain too high for me to operate. It comes from that song,
Wow.
the Beatles.
So he was going back to those songs that he was listening to in the car, and
there was a song. There was a song of an artist called Jackson Brown that he did.
Yeah, Jackson Brown, of course.
Jamaica was a lovely girl. I played her well. He took it from there. And the song is about like in the empty hours and like, and I think this is after Anele passed. You know, there's the lonely hours of the morning and like the thoughts you go through, and then you go to sleep. And in the song, it says like, come back tomorrow night, you know. I feel very proud of Kenan. Kenan was his own man. He became what he became because of Kenan. I do feel his mom and I, you know, there's some things that we obviously did and taught our children that, you know, held them in good stead in terms of, you know, taking forward. You know, he always saw us working. So the work ethic, I believe it's very important that, you know, you instill that in your children, and especially through your example. You know, don't just say do what I tell you to do, and show the example. You know, and it's I mean, like he was his own person, but you know, exposing him to music, you know, the things we taught them, the flag.
Yeah.
Do you remember we had a flag next to the television?
Yeah, the flag. I think another thing you imparted on him was just a respect for the liberation struggle, and he was always quite politically conscious, even at school. I remember him telling us about reading Malcolm X's autobiography. Yeah. And of course, unfortunately, Man United. But I mean, so there were lots of things early on that I think you imparted that he imbibed. Yeah. So I mean, it's great memories. I'm very proud of him. It's what you want for your children. You want your children to exceed you. Having said that, I'm particularly proud of the early influence around the music that, you know, I played for him. And a lot of that music, it's not like I came up with it. My uncles and my cousins played that music. There was one Bread song called Dismal Day. I look into my morning mirror. Oh, yeah. And he used to play that song with me. He loved that song. You'd sometimes literally both be singing along in the car, like while you were driving. Yeah. Just before we come back to that story, I'm interested in your story and how you studied computer science. Because studying computer science in the 80s is not an easy thing to do. I mean, talk us through more about how you made that breakthrough.
Well, I'd like to be able to say that, you know, from a young age, I always was intrigued by computers, but not so.
Yeah.
I think it was typical in our generation, at least in the community where I came from, to not really know what you wanted to do. I ended up I knew I wanted to study. I knew I loved mathematics and, you know, science, not physical science. And chemistry, I hate that.
Yeah.
And I got to university, and at that stage, computer science it seemed like AI is the thing now, you know, like back then it was just computing was, you know, getting a career in computing was the thing. Coding. And I discovered, hey, I can do computer science, and I picked it, and I loved it. It's a combination of, you know, being very technical and logical, and also being creative. You know, and I loved it, and I found a passion. And the other thing about it that I've grown to love about it is that I suppose it's like music also, but the time that you put into it yourself, you are dependent on other people, but it really, really comes down to yourself, you know. And through software, I have this belief that you can become what you want to be. There's a saying, software is eating the world. Everything is software. My watch is software. Software is all around us. You know, and you know, it's true now. You know, and you can build a career out of it. You can create things out of nothing. So for me, I still believe today it is one of the best, you know, career courses for you to choose is to go into computer science and programming and coding. It's a lot different to when I started, but and it just continues to change and evolve, and it just is so powerful, you know. I must tell you this little story.
Yeah.
So Cat Stevens, do you remember?
Of course. Yeah.
There's a song. It's not time to make a change. Just relax, take it easy. You're still young, that's your fault. There's so much you have to know. It's a song about a father talking to his son. And the father says, no, take your time, you know, think a lot.
Yeah.
And the son says, no. From the moment I could talk, I was ordered to listen. Like, you know, you're always like, tell me what to do. I want to go away. And then he says, no, stay, you know, be calm. Find a girl, settle down. And this is a song Ken and I loved. Ken and I loved it, and we were going to do a song. At some point he said, hey, Dad, let's go away for a week to Sun City and we can record. I knew Kenan wanted to do it, but I knew it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When was this that the idea was floated?
This was like a year or so before he passed.
Wow.
So we were going to do that song.
Yeah.
Long story short, I was speaking to Jay something from Mikasa, and I told him the story, and he said, okay, Uncle Tony, I'll do a song with you. So I don't know if it's going to happen, but the song I was thinking about is father and son, you know, because in a way it represents Kenan leaving too early. So that's the song I'm thinking we're going to do. But I started thinking, why don't I adapt the lyrics, you know, and talk about it wasn't your time. You know, there was so much still that I wanted to do with you. There's so much you had to do, you know, marry that girl, have your son, make your home, build a house, and you know, I wonder where you are now. Can you see me? Can you see my tears? Can I feel your smile? Be the wind at my back. Now, I wrote these things down. And then I gave it to Google Gemini, which is the equivalent of ChatGPT.
Yeah, sure.
I said, give me a Cat Stevens, give me a song like Father and Son, but use my lyrics.
Yeah.
And it popped out a song for me.
Wow.
That is how amazing AI is today.
Absolutely.
It's called generative AI.
Yeah.
And I wish that, you know, there are more kids, especially in coming from our communities, that go down this path. And truth be told, if I could, I really want to find some way to give back, you know, and I'm racking my brain. How do I do it? Do I go and teach a Python course on a Saturday morning, or what do I do? But it's the love for computer science and computing and programming is it's just something that, you know, I've carried with me for a very long time, and it's definitely something that I feel that you can make changes. You can positively influence people's lives. You know, So if you've got any ideas of what I could do to pass on some of the good fortune I've had, you know, it's something that... Anyway, it's a long answer to your question.
No, we're here for that, and there's no time limit, Uncle Tony. And I guess, sure, it's it's just so hard to think of the end of Kiernan's life for me. I hadn't spoken to him for about 10 years, I think.
Wow.
But Kiernan was the kind of person that you never forgot. And that night for me was just so harrowing, and I'm sure
The night he passed?
the night he passed. And I'm sure for you it was.
Do you know where you were?
I know exactly where I was.
It's like when Michael Jackson died,
Exactly.
and I heard,
Yeah.
did you hear Michael Jackson died?
Yeah.
Like, I remember where I was. I was in Belito,
Yeah. It's so
waking up. I remember when Elvis died, when the
Yeah.
Princess Di died. You know.
It's so funny you should say that, because I was with Kiernan when he learned that Michael Jackson died. And he was so,
When who passed?
Michael Jackson.
Yes.
We were together. And
Oh, really?
he loved Michael Jackson so
This
much.
was
It was about 2011. No.
2010. 20,
Maybe
29.
2008 or 9. Yeah, somewhere
29,
there. Yeah.
29.
I remember exactly where I was. I was at home, and someone called me, and I refused to believe it. I refused to believe it, and it took me a long time to accept it.
Yeah, I remember the. You think it's a good thing if we keep this close?
I think we might. Yeah, can you please? Yeah.
I remember I went to sleep. I went to sleep with my daughter at around 10. Or no, before 10, 9 o'clock. And I woke up after 12. There was someone was calling my name from the gate. I don't think the bell was working. I was like, let me call the security. Let me call the security. I want to sleep.
Yeah.
So I went out, and it turned out to be my godchild, my Kenan's cousin, Talia, and her boyfriend. Lynn's sister's child, Trudy. And I went to the gate, and Talia held out the phone and said, "My dad wants to tell you something." And I took the phone, and Trevor just said, "Tony, I've got bad news. Kenan's been shot." And I remember in Durban, I had, there's this brief moment where you want to ask, is he okay? Is he alive? What? And Trevor just said it was fatal. Sure. And it didn't register for me. But I do remember just sitting down. I just needed to sit down on the steps right by the gate. And, like being confused. I didn't break down emotionally. And then, 5 minutes later, I was on the phone with Stefan. And then he put his mother on. I think it was probably like a good few minutes where we didn't say a word to each other. There were no words to utter. There was nothing. But yet, I think we both felt that, she knew what I was thinking, and I knew what she was thinking and going through in that moment. But in probably 10, 15 minutes after that, at that stage I didn't cry yet. I didn't emotionally. And Stefan on the phone, Stefan says, Dad, we've got to go and do this thing now. We've got to go to Durban. And I think in a situation like that, it's the sense of self-preservation. It just kicks in, and it disassociates you from the pain and the trauma. I do remember going and taking a shower, and this was now at 3 o'clock, let's say, because I was going to take a flight, and it was a windstill evening, and the window was open. I just got into the shower, and I felt this rush of air. And I instinctively felt it was Kenan, and saying, Dad, I'm on the other side. but I'm with you. I genuinely, to this day, feel that was him. I went, I mean, I'm not ashamed to say, I went to see a medium, or what do they call him, a psychic. And she said to me that it's not unusual when family members die in that way, that there's, as they leave this life, that there is, because from the shock, there is that, it's like them screaming. And that's what, and it goes to the people that are biologically linked to them. I don't know how many people believe in this, but I did go and see. I mean, and there's some stories, around these, in that week before, where she said she saw him there, and every time we were sad, she would. And if I can tell you one story, which was amazing.
Of course.
And I'll come back to that time. At some point, way after the funeral.
Yeah.
I used to get to a point where I would go and sit in the garden in the morning at my house, close to that gate, where I heard. And I would see this, I would say, Kenan, show me a sign, and there's this white butterfly. It would keep coming. Almost every day, there's a white butterfly. And the one day I said, hey, because now, remember, my dad passed when I was 3. My mom passed a year and a half before him. So the 3 of them are together there.
Yeah.
So I said, hey, why don't you bring mom and ma and pa with next time? I swear. This was, I think, on a Friday. On the Sunday, just around the tap there by the wall, the one white butterfly comes out, the second white butterfly comes out, and the third white butterfly comes out, like synchronized.
Beautiful.
So I think, wow, this must be them, man. How can it not be? Then the medium that I saw, the psychic, Tiffany, 2 weeks after that, she sent me a text. She said, and I hadn't spoken to her in a while. She said she was driven to listen to Mass Country, his last album. And as she was listening, he was talking to her. And, there were various messages like, I see Cairo when she's at school. I'm there with her. And tell my dad, who's always asking me to give him a sign with the butterflies or the birds, whatever. Obviously, she's interpreting it. That he must focus on his healing. Now, how would she have known about the butterflies? And so I believe that, that he is with me. He's here. I had I was going to wear his ring. Normally I wear his ring on a Friday. I choose to believe that he's always with me. Just like that night when I was in the shower and, he said, Dad, I'm on the other side. Yeah. But coming back, I mean, so for me, that's just, people will say, Tony, you're crazy, you're delusional. But, I choose to believe that. But coming back to that time, we went to I flew to Durban the next morning. Yeah. My daughter would ask me, Daddy, why are you going? And I didn't want to tell her. And I said, no, it's for work. But those 2 hours on the plane was just 2 of the most lonely hours I spent, just sitting there, I'm conscious there are people around me, and I didn't want to break down, but now and then I would get emotional. And we got to Durban, and of course, I have never been to identify anyone in a mortuary. Never. And suddenly here I am, and I'm supposed to be the strong one. And guess what? I was strong. Normally I've never dealt with death, but I was able to, and I can only think it's because he was there, and God was, holding our hands. And I remember seeing him the first time. I was very nervous about seeing him. But he looked like he was sleeping. And still I thought, he's sleeping. I'm looking for, maybe he's going to move. Something's going to move, like he's going to, and this is just, but at that stage, emotionally I had not broken down. And so we went through, we saw him again after, they worked on him, and he looked peaceful. And then, before we flew out, I want to tell the story because people have not heard, What was amazing was how people came around us and supported us. I remember before we flew out, friends of Kenan who were with us, they said, look, there's these people that want to meet you. Okay, we meet these people. They're just at the airport. They had flown out from Johannesburg just to see Stefan and me and to come and look at arrangements. It was the undertakers. They paid for everything. We didn't pay a cent.
Wow.
They especially came, the husband and the wife, they came to they just flew to Durban and then they flew back. And then we saw them the next day when we went we took the family, we took Cairo and Lynn and Nadia and we took them, and how amazing was that? The people at the house, his friends, buying food and drinks and flowers, and as much it was a sad time, very sad time. I'm very grateful for, and we are grateful, and I don't speak on behalf of the family and Lynn and Stefan, but as me, sorry, it was amazing. And it just showed how much Kenan was loved. In that week leading up to the funeral, I guess I think when it really hit me was that Sunday afternoon when we had to. The first thing we did was to select the coffins, and when I saw the coffins, that was the moment that it drove it home to me that this is it. It was difficult. Throughout that week, we had support. I remember on the Tuesday night, we had a lot of his artist friends and celebrity friends at the house. His neighbors paid for this big marquee.
Wow.
And one by one they got up and started, they talked about their journey with him. And I remember afterwards thinking, I'm so proud and so grateful that, we had him. And in fact, that's one of the things I want to do and I'm working on is, I remember sometime after that, and I was going through one of my sad days, like, what if I had what happened there, what they said there in a book, and I could, on those bad days, I could just take this book out and Chicken Soup for the Soul, I could just read it and feel better and be grateful and proud again. I conceived this book. I even wrote the foreword and I sent it to people. But again, it took me a long time to get to that point, And I'm finding that the more I undertake projects like that, the more I feel better. I come out of just being sad into wanting to have things to look forward to and having things to look forward to and having some, more positivity in my life.
Yeah.
And I remember now, I've gone through a long period of depression and just running away from pain, and becoming paralyzed, some days I would just sit there on a chair in my room and not want to do anything. But it changed. It has changed over time. Someone asked me, would you have died for your son? And I said, yes, of course. And then he asked me, now, would you live for your son? And that is a question that got me thinking that, the best way to honor Kenan is to live his legacy. And Kenan's legacy, I'd like to think, is about being audacious in your dreaming, believing in yourself, sticking to something, no matter how hard it is, being brave to do things that, to do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't. There was a line in one of Kenan's songs, when you do the right thing and it still don't feel right. Do the right thing, even if it... and also of paying forward. Kenan gave a lot of artist opportunities and collaborated young artists and became artists in their own right. And maybe they'll surpass Kenan, Kenan made a difference, in charities. He didn't speak much about it.
Sure.
But if I can be involved in projects like that and living that legacy, then I get healing from that. And so that's where I'm at. I used to be a big dreamer myself, and there was a long time I didn't dream. But now I feel like dreaming again. I want to sing a song. I want to record a song. It's interesting you spoke about it.
Yeah.
I want to have that feeling of being in a studio and recording something. Just once. Singing in front of an audience with someone with proper microphone. I'm actually going to do this song. Miriam Makeba did the song with Paul Simon.
Yeah.
Joseph's face was black as the night. It was sung at a concert in Harare. So I've actually started practicing the song with her.
Love it.
She's got a band, and I'm so excited. You guys were.
I'm happy to hear that, Uncle Tony, and I think...
So I hope that answers your question, it was difficult, it's still difficult, but...
It was a beautiful answer, and I thank you for sharing that, because you've helped us to understand and appreciate, how harrowing that moment must have been for you, but also how you're on the road and the journey to recovering from that grief.
It takes time.
That's something we all have to do as human beings, is grapple with grief and the injustice and unfairness of the world. And I think your story also helps others who are going through similar...
I hope, and I'm increasingly... I want to be able to also share my experience with people, and hopefully, I can show some examples. It's you can get up, you can cope. It will never go away. That hole will always be there in your heart. But you can, and I think it's going back also to finding yourself again.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, as I say, I hadn't seen Kenan for so long. And I was weeping, often. And I almost said to myself, but why you haven't seen this person? It
happens to me on a good day.
Yeah.
I cry so much. I can't stop. You know, it's like, and it's that, it hasn't happened a lot in recent past, but probably 2 weeks ago, you know, like I see something and I realize, and I enjoy a video or something. I forget he's not here anymore. And then boom.
Yeah.
It's like, but he's not here anymore.
Yeah.
I'll never feel that big hug he had or that little chuckle. I don't even know. He's got that little chuckle. You can find it on Daddy Issues. You know, and then it just breaks. It's like your heart breaks like all over again. So I know.
I think another thing people might not know is how funny Kiernan was. I've never laughed like those days when the three of us were together just laughing at stuff.
Do you remember there was that joke about the fridge falling from the plane?
No.
Or the Mr. Winter competition. Do you remember that one?
You've just cast my mind back
My
now,
favorite
man.
dish is a Tupperware.
Yeah.
Kiernan was very funny.
Yeah.
He was a natural. He could
laughed.
mimic
Yeah.
Mr. Bean or Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think the fans also know, like when he did, you know, that he was imitating this Russian, and his favorite was like, you know, when the Bond movies start, then there's a Russian chasing him, and just before the Russian's about to shoot him, he was like, "Do svidaniya, Mr. Bond." Kiernan always used to tell that. But, he was very funny.
He really was. He was something else. And I think he was the kind of person that left an indelible mark on the people who knew him. Whether you knew him 10 years ago, 1 year ago.
But do you, sorry to break your word, do you recall that the day at the memorial? I had not seen you guys. If you had not seen him for 10 years, then maybe maybe it's 10 years also.
Yeah.
Obviously I walked in, there were lots of people.
Yeah.
And I saw the two of you there. And I'm thinking, where's the third one?
Yeah.
And in that moment, you know, I hadn't seen you guys for 10 years. It just felt like I felt his absence so much more when I saw the two of you, you know. And it was after 10 years also that I hadn't seen you guys.
Absolutely.
And I just broke down. Like it's one of the moments that I really broke down in that week was that moment. And I remember exactly how I felt, you know. It's kind of hard to describe, but I think, you know, you get the gist of it.
That moment was so special for us, Uncle Tony, as well, because, you know, I struggled with how to deal with the moment. And
you mean like, what would you say to me?
What would I say?
Oh, yeah.
Did I have a right to be there? You know,
nonsense, man.
And Nhlanhla and I had spoken, and we often speak, you know, and we speak about those days and, you know, how important those days were to our lives and who we were and Kiernan's role there. But because we hadn't spoken to him, we weren't sure if
I feel like outsiders, imposters.
Exactly. Maybe we were making it more than it was. And the moment we saw you and the moment you recognized us and you took us back to how important those days were for all of us, it was a profound moment of healing for me and Nhla.
I think it's one of the things Kiernan, I'd like to think I taught him a few things, but there's lots of things he taught me. I think relationships and longevity in relationships. And, you know, someone summed it up at one night. He said, Kiernan had this bubble around him.
Yeah.
And most times you're in the bubble, but sometimes you leave that bubble.
Yeah.
But sometimes you would come back in that bubble.
Yeah.
Very often people would come back in that bubble. Absolutely. That's just how Kiernan was, you know.
Yeah.
He could have a fallout with someone and then, you know, somewhere in the future, you know, we're back together.
One day out of the blue, boom, he followed me on Instagram, and we did chat, and we saw each other at the Summers. It was the night Liverpool won the Champions League, and we spoke.
Was it Juventus? No, was it Juventus? Huh?
Yeah, no. Liverpool.
Yeah, it's just it's a long time ago.
And we did joke, and I said, "Are you watching tonight?" He was like, "Yeah." What was going on around the Mass Country moment? Because at the memorial, I felt as though a lot of people were speaking to how he was also going in a different direction in his life. He was, when you listen to the album, there's a sense of introspection, there's a sense of purpose that I remember hearing in his very, very early music. What do you think was going on in his life around the recording of that album and in his last days?
He became very spiritual. I mean, you guys went to St. John's College, so you were at Mass every day. But Kenan became very spiritual. You know, he would tell me, "Dad, are you praying? You must pray." You know how Kenan spoke. I mean, he was 35 years old.
Yeah.
I think my understanding was, getting to that level, in his career, took a lot of sacrifice. The life of an entertainer. The late nights, the weekends,
the adrenaline, the constant adrenaline.
I think it just being on the road.
Being famous, Uncle Tony, from such a young age. When I think of how famous he was so young.
So I think he had enough of that.
Yeah.
He wanted something more. He wanted, he definitely wanted to marry Nadia. And I'm so grateful for Nadia coming into his life. He wanted other things in his life. He didn't want that life of late nights and it's not just late nights. It's it's alcohol, for example, smoking. If you listen to Mass Country, that album is laced with things he says that makes you think that he knew he was going to go, or he knew it was the last time. I mean, he said it. It's the last time.
Yeah.
In Diary, he says, I can talk to you. I can talk to nobody else. It's coming closer now. That album was put out on time. Well, I mean, it was finished on time.
Yeah.
We put it out, I think a week or 2 weeks after Kenan passed, and we buried him. It's the first album ever in his career where that's happened. So there was, it felt like when you listen to it. When I spoke to the medium, I truly believed that I was talking to him. And I remember, I think it was the second session, before it was an online session. I felt this emotion, and I started, crying. And when I spoke to Tiffany, she says, "No, it's natural. He's with you." So I felt that I was talking to him, and I asked him, "Did you know that you were going to die?" He said, "Yes." Now, lots of people will say yes, but Tiffany knows the history, and maybe she would have just played along. I believe that in that moment, I was talking to him. And he said that he knew that his days were numbered, and which is why he was living his life. So Kenan could quite easily have built himself a palace of a house, if I think about all the money he had and the money he made over the years. But he chose to spend his money on traveling, seeing the world. And I'm grateful that he did spend, time and to experience things. But so if I think about my feeling is that it feels like Kenan really had this feeling, this belief that, you know, he was, his days were numbered. I think of it like I'm a sportsman. It's like a test batsman. Some test batsmen take a long time to get their first 100. He got his 100 in 35 balls.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's like that. It is what it is.
There was always a prophetic quality to his music. And I don't know if you remember, but that first day in the studio, when we recorded those 2 songs, there was one about heartbreak and girls, and which
heartbreak at that age.
I know, yeah. What were we talking about at 15? But there was another song because we fancied ourselves as conscious rappers as well, which was about gun violence.
About
gun violence.
Yes.
The first song Kenan ever recorded.
Not Mechanism.
In a studio. Mechanism.
Mechanism.
And I still, and I mean, in those moments, I went back to his verse, you know, and that verse in that song is, there's hatred in him. The mechanism packed with venom, I resent them. And now I see the devil must have sent them. Pay attention. It's almost as if he's talking to someone who is going through what he went through in the last days of his life.
Did you get the feeling that Kenan was really an old soul?
There were moments, especially in his music, where he would come up with stuff and you'd be like,
where did that
come from? Yeah. Like the touch and go chorus, which he wrote.
Yeah.
Which people still quote to this day. Learn, build, grow. Yeah. I don't know where he came up with that stuff. Like,
I think it's, he phoned me one day. I was driving in Joburg, and he calls me Friday night. I remember clearly, and he's driving somewhere with his friends, and he says, "Dad, do me one of my songs." So me, like, I'm always game. Running out of things I can prove myself. Hey, they're all clapping. And then he says, "Dad, you know what? If you hadn't played me the old school music, I wouldn't have learned to tell a story, my story in my music."
Yeah.
You know, and I think, you know, if I think about the old school music that he listened to, you know, and in the context of what he said, you know, I'm not surprised. You know, and today I would encourage young artists to listen to old school music, you know, and I think probably that's where the Jackson Browns. I mean, I always used to tell him the story of Jackson Brown. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame by Bruce Springsteen. Bruce Springsteen, in the speech, he said, and he used to open for Jackson Brown, and he would go to Jackson's house, and Jackson would say, "Hey, come listen to my new song, play him a verse." And then 3 months later, he would be back at Jackson's house, and Jackson Brown would say, play him more of the song, but it was only 2 more lines. Just 2. 3 months later.
Yeah.
Kenan for me was that, he was that meticulous, and he would think about how he would say something. And I was also amazed, even now when I listen to his music and he says something and I think, wow, he says something, you know, like you don't know how to say, I don't know how to say it, but he just always had a way of saying it. And it, like when you listen to it, it's like, makes sense. You know, it's but don't remember, he at home, he had this black hardcover book.
Yeah.
When he went to the toilet, he would take that book with him. He would be writing in that book everywhere.
We all had our own, and we'd come in after school and then now recite the new one that we'd written.
Yeah. It would be amazing. I mean, those books, I don't know where Kenan's book would be.
Yeah.
That would be
It would be. It would be.
That would be gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about the trial and the pursuit of justice for Kienan's murder? I know there's been a recent breakthrough with the extradition of 2 people who I believe are going to join the trial. The trial hasn't yet started, but we've had pre-trial processes. Are you feeling that the criminal justice system is doing Kienan's memory justice and the family justice?
I know Keenan was a celebrity, and obviously it's a high-profile case.
Yeah.
And therefore it has received attention from the SAPS and the MPA and the courts, I suppose, and the media, and beyond that. So it's not typical of what you would find in other murder cases, I would say, unless it has a similar profile.
Sure.
My experience has been one of just seeing the SAPS team doing everything, working thoroughly, following up on everything, preparing well. That's something that they've been consistent, and I have so much respect for Bob and his team, but I'm also not surprised because it's General Mkhwanazi's team. He's been very close to the investigation and the case as well.
Excellent. Is that so?
And I'm very impressed with the SAPS and General Mkhwanazi's team, Bob and everyone, and they've kept us informed. In particular, during that first year, when I think from the outside people would think nothing was happening, but we knew what was happening, and the strategy was that they had arrested people, but they'd arrested them on other cases.
Yeah, sure.
And then they brought it and consolidated everything, and it was the right strategy. The public was calling out for justice, and and saying, nothing was happening, and quite the contrary.
Yeah.
I understand why the public felt that way, but I knew what was happening, and I am more than satisfied that both the MPA and the SAPS have done everything that they could. The trial only starting in June next year.
Right. So that's the date.
One could say that it's a bit slow. However, that's a function of the court roll being full, if I understand it correctly.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we hurry things, it's not going to bring Keenan back. It may even have a detrimental effect to the case, and the chances of getting a conviction.
Yeah.
If some things are skipped or not done at all. So I'm very satisfied with that. And I guess the other thing about it happening next year is it does give the teams more time to sort the extradition out.
Sure.
So that 7 people are on trial, not 5. I have forgiven those people. I had not forgiven them before I knew who they were. But now that I know, I have forgiven them. But I'd like to see justice.
Wow.
I need to see justice. But I have not walked around in the last 2, almost 3 years thinking about the case, being angry. Because if I did, that's all I would have done. And it would have just consumed me. So I feel we're on the right path. I feel that the police and the prosecution have done a tremendous job. I have huge respect for them.
I'm glad to hear
And
that.
I have huge respect, and I mean, I'm seeing what's happening. I'm very encouraged by how General Mkhwanazi, what has happened and how these things are being, it's coming out in the open. And hopefully, I feel positive about the future that, that we tackle crime in this country in such a way that what happened to my son doesn't happen to, to other people's children. Kenan is not, yes, Kenan was murdered, but there are children that are murdered every day in this country. There are parents that have lost multiple children. Some parents have lost multiple children. So I'm not unique in that. I just wish that, my experience of how the criminal justice system has worked can also be extended to others. I mean, yeah. On the, were you asking me about the inquest?
Yeah, sure.
As well?
To the extent that you'd like to speak about it, obviously we also
I feel when I think of the inquest, and I think of Anele and Kenan, I don't think of it's us versus them. Anele was good to me when she was alive, just as Kenan's other partners were to me, and her dad Moses will tell you that I used to call him, especially on a Sunday, to say, Moses, how are you guys doing? Because I would still experience, like the feeling of that Sunday morning here in Cape Town, So, I sometimes look at pictures of those two children and I think, what a waste. What a waste. They're not here with us anymore. So, I wanted, if I could do things again or relive, both of them would be alive.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Having said that, I believe that as the inquest has to come out and, it should be the place where it is not a competition. It is not about us versus them. It is not about Kenan versus Anele. We need some closure, but we also need to do it in a fair, balanced way. So that's what I'm hoping for. I don't want to speak out too much because I believe that the inquest is where things should be.
Absolutely.
The one thing I'm very concerned about is, comments being made. For example, Bheki Cele at the ad hoc committee making the comments that, the police believe that Kenan murdered Anele. His words, like I said last week to you, his words still carry a lot of weight. And there are people out there, and I can see the comments on social media that are now saying, yeah, we always suspected something, and that now confirms it. I mean, the facts were the MPA applied their minds. They looked at the evidence, or rather the lack of evidence in the docket, and made the decision that there's no grounds to prosecute anyone. And that's based on affidavits. It's based on the forensic reports, expert witness reports. So it wasn't just a willy-nilly MPA decision, nor was it interference from outside on the Western Cape MPA to arrive at that decision. The one, so I feel that the ex-minister's comments, has reopened the wounds, and it's regrettable. The one thing I do want to say is that I understand why the Western Cape MPA made the decision they made, why Advocate Bell made that decision, you know. I understand why there was a delay for them announcing that decision. We had to ask that the decision is announced 2 days after Kenan died. And it came out like 5 days after Kenan died.
Yeah.
Kenan went to his grave with that hanging over his head. I understand the circumstance as to why the MPA had not made the announcement. And that goes back to that they anticipated a challenge at national level to that decision.
Right.
And they decided they would rather hold back the announcement.
Can I ask, when did they make the decision? Because I know when they made the announcement. Was it long before that February announcement they made?
I cannot remember exactly, but the decision had been made quite some time before Kenan passed. But they didn't announce it because they were informed that they were going to get a challenge to that decision, and that's why they held it back.
Yeah.
I think they held it back too long. In this moment, I feel the NPA should be responding to what the ex-minister had said and set the record straight. My disappointment is that Advocate Bell and her team are quiet. They are saying nothing. And I think that is unfair. Our job as his family is to protect his legacy, to live his legacy, to enhance his legacy. And for us, these statements being made, and basically the nation's been told that we thought that he murdered her. It's harming his legacy. And all I want is I want the nation to be told the facts. I don't want to say to people, you must believe me or Moses, for example. Just respect that there's a process, respect that there's an inquest, and respect that that the authorities made the decisions based on facts and not just, because basically the ex-minister was saying it was because of interference that they decided not to prosecute.
Yeah, he made that statement that he went as high as the president and said he wanted to institute a private prosecution, and that was quite a there was so much happening that day. I think in some ways it fell under the radar because that's a major allegation to make.
Yeah, I also think that, I think it was a cheap shot, but because basically, if I understand it, he was saying it in the context of the discussion around interference. And basically he was saying the MPA was interfering. But then he brought that out. And I was thinking, how did this get in here? But now that it is here, why did he do it? And for me, I worry about people using interventions like the ad hoc committee or the Matlanga Commission as platforms to just put things out in the open.
Without any opportunity for the other side
to respond. And there's no opportunity for redress. And the team there didn't really have context, and they couldn't really interrogate. In this situation, I feel the simple thing is for the MPA to comment, but the MPA is quiet. So you ask me, how do I feel? In KZN, Advocate Harrison's team, and by extension Advocate Harrison, they've done amazingly well. And I'm very happy. In Cape Town, with Advocate Bell, my experience is not the same. There's not consistency. And I cannot believe, I watched the interview that you had with Shmila Batowi
Yes.
on your show, I think.
Yeah, I was on the SABC
And I was
show.
very encouraged by that, and I respect the NPA. I do feel that, they've got to be more visible and consistent. And since last week, I have emailed the NPA. No reply. No reply. That's the disappointing. So overall, I'm, in the murder case, I wouldn't say I'm happy. There's a murder.
Yeah.
But I'm satisfied that what has been done are the things that should have been done, and it's been done thoroughly, and everything that and it continues. In the Cape Town case, I'm not sure what the delays are. The ex-minister also said that the magistrate now, his words were, now I understand that the magistrate there is now asking, why was this not a criminal investigation in the first place? We have not received any notification to that effect. Does that imply that the magistrate is already taken a stance that is not a neutral stance? So there are questions that have come out, and but these things are not going to make Kenan come back, nor bring Anele back. We need to close it, and we need to do it in such a way that we preserve their dignity.
Yeah. Absolutely, and as you say, it's sad how on social media it becomes this narrative of one person versus the other, when in actual fact there are two families who are dealing with tragedy. I have a lot of respect for the Tembe family as well, and I'm sure they've been through a lot too, just as the Forbes family. And one can only hope that there is some finality soon, just for the public discourse, because as you say, otherwise it leaks out in these ways that are unproductive and unfair, and it just reopens the wounds for everyone.
And we have to heal. We have to heal.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of the inquest, do we have a date for when we could get some kind of resolution on that?
Not yet. We don't have a date. I'm actually not sure where we stand exactly on the timing of that.
Uncle Tony, what about the future? What about where to for you, where to for Kenan's legacy? So much of his work continues to live on and will live on beyond us.
Okay, how much time have you got?
As much time as you want.
Yeah, I feel, as I said, that I feel energized again because I've worked through some of the dark days and the difficult times. It doesn't mean it's gone, but I feel very optimistic. I feel that the best way to honor Kenan is, tackle projects, use his platform to make life better for others. So his mom and I started the Tony Forbes Foundation. And our purpose through that is to do good, is to pay back. Kenan stood for helping others, just the same way that we stand for it, in the same way that our parents taught us and your parents taught you, So in those projects, we really, it's been almost 3 years now. We haven't launched one project like, as a fully fledged project that is sort of gone off the cliff. And that's a function of, it's taking us a long time to work through, the emotions and, people were asking us about tribute shows and all kinds of things, a year or so after he passed, and or making documentaries. We were just emotionally not ready for that.
Of course.
I do think now that we are in a better place. So as part of the foundation, we tackled an art project where around his birthday, we had these selection of artists that came and put their tribute art up. And they got a chance to sell their stuff. And the foundation got a small percentage of it. And also, some money for Cairo. So, I mean, that's an example. But we want to do projects like, aspiring artists, young and up-and-coming artists. The Royal School of Hip Hop.
Yeah.
I have this idea, which we can talk about it again, but create a talent show or support artists with bursaries or scholarships or whatever the case may be. In the tribute show, when we talk about it, my thinking is, Ken is not there to perform his music anymore. But, alongside the usual suspects like, the Yangas and the Kulichanas and so on and so on.
Absolutely.
It's a wonderful opportunity to take some up-and-coming artists and give them some of Kenan's music, and maybe it's Royal School of Hip Hop, and say, remix this and come and perform it at a tribute show.
Absolutely.
They benefit in terms of the exposure, and get paid for the services. It's an example for me of how we can use Kenan's platform to pay it forward. And there are other Kenan, obviously, as you know, he loved the flag. He's very patriotic. So there's an NGO that contacted me about, if we could do something around, they specifically focus on engendering the love for the flag. So doing something with them, doing something around mental health. Len did something with Kenan with the Special Olympics. So I can't yet say this is the list of projects, here it is. But, that's where we're starting to get there now. There's also the music. There's, working with his catalog. Greatest hits albums, remixing, remastering some of the music. I mean, that we've spoken about. There's also unreleased music.
Okay. So like AKA unreleased music.
Unreleased music, not in complete form.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
That is not so easy. There's an emotional side also to that. Would Kenan, that music there, does it reflect his, and I was talking to Nadia the other day, and she got me to understand this, his state of mind when he was making that music in his little studio at home. Is it something that he's moved on from and that you don't want to go back? Is it music that represents who he was with? The way he was thinking at that point in time? Bringing it out now, does it make sense? So me on the other hand, I think that if you go back centuries, maybe, I don't know, when did Mozart live and Beethoven live?
18th century, I think.
Their music has been released posthumously. Michael Jackson had music released after he passed. And I remember reading the story of Michael Jackson where they said initially the label Sony re-released some of his music, but it wasn't so successful. But then what they did is they brought in new producers, new thinking, and they remixed. And the biggest hit was with Justin Timberlake. Love Never Felt So Good.
Right?
So I don't think I'm less on I'm more the music guy. I'm like, no, the world deserves to hear Kenan's music. Kenan made music because he knew, not because of money, but because of making a difference to people, because people loved it and he knew. So he wouldn't want his music to be locked up on a disc somewhere. But I do understand the other side and that, yes, maybe he never wanted to release some of that music. Me, I'm always pushing, to have an open mind. I do feel, surely there's some music on there that maybe, you don't want to release this.
Yeah.
And there's music that you do. It's not music you will release as is, because that's the other thing also, is would Kenan be happy with that quality? The answer, the point is no, it's not about releasing as is. It's like bringing in new ideas, reworking it. It's like a few years on. Okay. So that is still there.
Wow.
And we have to make a decision about that.
Yeah.
There are commercial ventures, and this is an interesting thing in that very often we encounter, people saying, we are trying to exploit, take advantage of Kenan's death by making money. But just think about this. When he left, he had an 8-year-old daughter.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't mean that she is suddenly destitute. She still has a mom, but for us as a family, it's important that Kenan, through us, still contributes and in a large way provides for his child. Not only for the obvious reason, but also because she's also part of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't want Cairo to, lose touch with the Forbes, with Kenan's family. So it's important for us.
Of course.
That's the reality. If we don't do it, who's going to pay for Cairo to go to university? Who's going to, right? Someone's got to do it.
Yeah.
Now you find people saying, we want to exploit. But unfortunately, that's what we want to do.
No, that's
why we have to do it.
Cairo looks like an amazing young woman already. I've never met her, but she's
Cairo.
Yeah, she looks like an amazing person.
She's an amazing child. I mean, I remember I was 3 years old when my dad passed, and I still remember some of the emotions, and I remember being at his funeral, looking at him, touching his face. He had a white coffin, and I was 3 years old. I was at the graveyard, and at that age, I didn't understand,
Yeah.
Later on, it hit me that he's gone. He's never coming back. When her dad passed, she was 8 years old. She had obviously had a lot more time with her father.
Yeah.
I think it's good. It's better than what I had for 3 years. At the same time, it maybe makes things harder because you've got all this time that you knew your dad. And if we are struggling, if I'm struggling, a grown man, is still struggling, how does she struggle? So she's a very brave child, very smart, very witty. She's got her dad's personality.
Really?
But beneath that, that exterior, is a child that, still needs a lot of love and support. And I'm very grateful for how the nation loves Cairo, how the nation has adopted her.
Yeah.
And and not just Cairo. I mean, I must say that the support that we've received from people everywhere. I mean, I still get a lot of people wanting to take a photo with me or talk to me, and I know I'm the plan B, you know. I'm not, you know, they feel closer to Kenan. And it's not about me. It's because they loved him, and I give them that. You know, I always take a photo. I never say. Sometimes if I don't, it's because maybe I didn't hear someone, or I was in a rush and rushed past them. But and for me, it's just our South Africans been amazing. But coming back to your question, so all these projects personally, I'm doing my reality show, or I'm working on my reality show, and it's about I guess doing things from which I can find some healing, doing things that makes me more healthy, and also things that reconnects me with, you know, with Kenan's path. So the one episode is about me singing. So like I said, I've always wanted to record a song. So in this episode, I'm going to sing.
Wow.
I hope Jay Something's going to keep his promise.
We need that song.
Maybe we'll do the father and son song. I want to do a gospel song. Like sing in the church with the choir. There's nothing like singing in church with the choir. I don't know if I feel the Holy Spirit then. It's like, and in that moment, I feel so humbled and I feel like, wow, just I'm part of something, you know. So I'll be beautiful to sing. I've never learned to cook.
Really?
So I want to learn to cook, but my hidden agenda is I want to start a food business.
Okay.
From IT to food business, you know, it's like a natural progression.
Everything is software.
I want to be able to learn to cook all kinds of things, and then I also, in keeping with paying it forward, I imagine myself, you know, I'm very arrogant. If I could feed 4,000 people like Jesus did. Okay, Jesus did it with 5 fish and some bread.
That might be a bit tough.
I'll need a bit more. It's worthwhile doing. Like, so it's just simple things like every time we have a cooking lesson, we can do it at an orphanage or a community center or something, and then you feed the people there. And, you know, maybe I can even go beyond. I can beat Jesus and have more than 4,000. Hey. You know?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's not a competition. I'm doing it in His name, in God's name. And then also I've never driven a Rolls Royce. Surprise, surprise. Have you?
No.
Have you ever wanted to?
Not really.
Not really, but now that you think about it.
I wouldn't say no.
So I got to this point where I was thinking like, I've never driven a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Why not? It's like one of those things that in your life you just like you don't do it, you don't have a Ferrari, and before you know it, you die. You haven't driven a Ferrari. So why can't I drive a Ferrari now? You know, so I want to drive. So on the show,
this needs to happen.
The idea is go to celebrities.
So the show is you doing all these things that you've been wanting to do.
Go and ask some celebrities. Now show us your collection. Tell them, they like to show off their collections. Can I drive that one? So ideally, I want to drive. I want to drive a Ferrari, Aston Martin, a Porsche.
Surely this needs to happen.
A Bugatti. A Lamborghini again. Because one day Kenan came to Cape Town. I was driving on my Polo. And then I saw this. I was phoning him, hey, where are you? We were driving in the waterfront. Whoops, I see this hurricane come past me. And I saw the lady had pink hair. It was Kenan and Zintle.
Wow.
And he let me drive it. Wow. It's like this horse that doesn't want to be held back.
That's so funny because I remember him taking your BMW and
oh
he
yeah,
was like, wow, my dad let me drive his car.
It's the least that he could have done. I had an Audi convertible, remember?
I remember,
He used to use that. It was even in his videos. So that's what I want to do. I think for me it's also part of envisioning
Yeah.
what is possible.
Yeah, dreaming again,
You
doing
know,
things that give
and I
you
think
joy.
it's and sharing that with people so that it's like, hey, Tony, look here, he's 59, he's ugly and he's old, but he's driving
Far from it.
a Bugatti.
Absolutely, and I think we'd love to see you be joyful and do things that bring you joy.
I feel like people, like you said in the beginning of the interview, they call me, I'm known as Kenan's father, aka his father. Hey, aka his father. I walk past in the street. They say, aka his father.
Yeah.
They call me. But there is Tony, and Tony has dreams, and Tony realizes that he's got to use the time that he's got left to, you know, get in a better space, you know, make a difference again. You know, and the just the last one I wanted to talk about was there is a episode I want to pay tribute to Kenan and celebrate Kenan my way as his dad. I want to sing with Kenan still. It's not too late. You know that. Is some of the tracks like last time?
Yeah.
Put my vocal on the hook.
Nice.
And he still does the verse. It's possible.
Absolutely.
So watch the space.
Wow.
Then I thought of, there's so many fans that have asked me, you know, outside of Joburg, when are you guys doing something in Cape Town? When are you doing something in Bloemfontein? And we haven't got there. And my thinking is to have tribute shows in Bloemfontein, Kimberley, Joburg and Cape Town, yes. I'd like to do one in Durban. Kimberley, you know, and maybe East London, definitely Port Elizabeth, because the legacy is spread all around the country.
Absolutely.
And Africa for that matter. And to do tribute shows, but, you know, involving some of Kenan's, his friends, people that featured with him. But also to use that as an opportunity to let's say if you're in Port Elizabeth, is to have some up and coming group of artists artists to be involved. So we give them the Royal School of Hip Hop, and we ask them to remix it, and then they perform it. I feel like Kenan is not there, like I said, to perform it. So what better way to get them involved, and so that's something on one of the episodes that I want to do. I also, as to celebrate Kenan, you can see my arms are. My dad actually had tattoos. Both Stefan and Kenan obviously had tattoos. Yeah, I got nothing, so I'm thinking I'm gonna get a tattoo, and I wanna get it from Brad, who did all Kenan's tattoos.
Yeah, wow.
On my sports one.
Yeah.
Sure. You said I'm almost done.
As long as it's nothing to do with Man United, I'm happy. It's
about
fine.
Man United?
Yeah, as long as it's,
No. But I'm very happy about Man United. We seem to be coming.
No. It's unfair.
On the sports one, I really want to. I've been a sports person my whole life, and sport has actually played a big part in the life lessons that I've learned. You know, being competitive and participating and you know, learning basic lessons. If you arrive late for your cricket match, your team's going to be short, or your soccer match, and they're going to score opposite. You know, like you learn those things. So I want to get in shape again. And one of the goals I've set is next year in August, I want to play the World Squash Masters again. I played it once when it was in South Africa. So I want to get back to playing squash league here in Cape Town, and then in August go to the Masters tournament.
Very cool.
But it's going to take me time. I actually started running this week. I've done
nice
3 days in a row of 10K, but walk run.
Brilliant.
So I'm
brilliant.
I feel like I can. You know, I'm thinking, why haven't I done this before?
Yeah.
I want to do some things that I haven't done. I want to do some boxing.
Whoa.
So
Uncle
Nark
Tony
said to me that, okay, Uncle Tony, I'll show you around in the ring a bit. And some other fella, which I'll remain nameless for now. So there are millions of people doing boxing now at the gyms also. So I figured, well, maybe I can do something interesting there.
Yeah.
And as part of the Pay It Forward, every episode must have a Pay It Forward. I want to give free squash coaching. I need to find underprivileged, even if it's one school. It's my way, and I hope by sharing this, there are other people that have played squash that's just like, I've got all the equipment, let me donate it. I've got time, let me go and I mean, I actually took retirement, early retirement.
Wow.
From my position where I was a software development manager. To do what I'm doing now. And I'm feeling alive, I'm feeling energized, I'm feeling like, why is my time so short here? I want to live for another 50 years. So,
I'm so glad to hear that.
So that's the future, and it goes back to what I said. Someone asking me, would you now live for your son?
Yeah.
I want to live for me, but I want to live for my family also.
Yeah. This channel is also about the country and its future. And I remember you as someone who always had a view on the country and someone who conscientized us when we were younger. How are you feeling about the country and where we need to go in this moment?
I mean, there's no other country I would ever live or I would want to live. I feel, yes, there's a dark period that we're going through, but I feel optimistic that, that things are coming out. It may be still difficult, but, the signs are there that things are coming in the open. And I think it's going to be for the better. We'll have more controls in place. Overnight, our economic situation will not change. Unemployment won't change. It won't change overnight. But I do think that, the signs are there that certainly the ruling party is the ANC, has to become a lot more proactive in stimulating, job creation and wealth creation and all these and doing something about education. I think as individuals, as citizens, there's so much that we can do. I feel almost ashamed that I have not done enough in my life to make my contribution. Imagine if I'm as a retired person and I can find 9 other colleagues in software development that have retired, that I've worked with. Imagine what we could do in terms of, with our time, to help the next generation, and finding out about careers in computer science and, what they can do, what type of training should they do, blah, 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 blah. And even, so I'm encouraged. I'm a passionate South African. Yes, there are lots of challenges, but, I'm encouraged with, there's a lot more transparency now. Things are coming out, and what's also encouraging is we're talking about it. There's on your show, and that's why I love your show. Congratulations to you guys.
Thank you.
Is like not being shy to have the difficult discussions or bring up the difficult topics and challenge in a constructive way. The Madlanga, is it Madlanga Commission?
Yeah.
His stuff coming out every day.
Yeah.
And where did it start? General Mkhwanazi.
Yeah.
And that shows that one individual can start a revolution. One individual can make a difference. And so can I. I can make a difference, and you can make a difference. And I guess I'm very romantic about these things. So yeah, we're good. We're on a better path, I think.
Uncle Tony, thank you so much for joining us. And
thank you for having me.
thank you so much for also sharing what you shared, not just with me, but with the audience. This is a milestone moment for this channel, I think, this conversation, and it was just a joy to have you. Thank you for also inspiring me, that you can pick yourself up even from the gravest tragedy. And thank you for how much you gave me in those days when I was in your house.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, man.
And how much you've given
Your
the
mom and
country.
dad, I mean, you guys.
Oh my goodness.
Do you remember that Kenan was in that accident one night? He stopped by your house first. Remember? He was in a car accident.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I don't.
Anyway, that's the next interview.
Yeah. Yeah, we must.
Don't you remember that?
No.
Can I tell it?
Sure. Yeah.
So, the one night, I was staying alone at in Alton.
Yeah.
He was staying at his flat in Braamfontein.
Yeah.
So he got in he left my place just after 11. And then he went home. But on his way home, he stopped by you first.
Yeah.
And he spent some time there. And then he went home. Your mother's place was like just one street away from Louis. Was it?
Yeah.
Louis Botha.
Oh, those Houghton days. Yeah.
And then he got in the car. He drove out. The light was green, and then he turned. Car came and hit him.
Yeah.
He wasn't wearing his seatbelt then yet because he was still sorting the music out. It hit him on the driver's side. He was flung to the other side of the car. He broke his ribs and I think his leg. But if he had been strapped in, he would have died. I got a call to say, are you the owner of this, blah, 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 because the car was on my name.
Yeah.
Your son is all right, but there's been an accident. It's a very good way to...
Yeah.
And then I went there, and he told me, no, he came from your place. And then you don't remember that?
No, I don't.
There's so many stories.
There's so many stories.
And then I remembered, one day I was walking in Sandton City.
Yeah.
This woman comes to me.
I must tell you another story about walking in Sandton. Yeah.
This woman comes to me, and she says to me, you've got this dark aura around you. Can I do a reading for you? Like, okay. So I went to see her the next morning. She told me a lot of things, but she told me one thing. She said, can you get your son to stop driving? This was around November. I said, no. At that stage, I'd just given Kenan the Taz. We'd just given him the Taz.
The famous blue Taz.
That Taz. So then in May, the accident happened. And then the next day, I was like, oh my God. That woman told me there was going to be an accident.
Wow. That's something.
Anyway.
Yeah,
this interview is all over the place.
There was one time where all three of us are walking. Just when...
Oh, you were robbed.
No, yeah, we were robbed.
That's another one.
We were walking back to my house. Gee, yeah, I remember that one. And we were just shocked.
You were robbed at knife point, huh?
Yeah.
Coming from St. John's.
Yeah, walking from St. John's.
But what's the story you want to tell?
Yeah, so this is now when Royal School has dropped. And slowly the music video is starting to... And the first time I remember us being recognized was the three of us were walking and some people came up to us and said, aren't you those guys and whatever? And that was Kianan's favorite day. We'd always go back to that. He was like, it actually happened. Like, look at this. Like, it's working. It's working. And I was just like, did he know how famous he was going to become? Like,
he used to tell that story of he was in Rosebank and someone came up to him and said, Aren't you
that dude? Yeah.
Aren't you?
Yeah.
And he said, I'm AKA.
She said, aren't you that dude, AKA from...
No. Then the person said, aren't you Stephen's brother.
You know, he's actually, there's a line in that some of the stuff I sent you. There's a song called 17, When I Was 17. And it's about us writing about
being recognized and becoming famous.
Yeah, and he puts that anecdote.
Does he put it in there?
Yeah, he says, hey, and he says, I wonder if I'll ever get a reception like Double HP.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
There's, you know, what I didn't tell you was at the time of that week before Kenan passed, we had lots of different people coming to the house. So Casper came.
Okay.
We hadn't met him. I guess we were all a bit nervous, but I mean, when they asked, "Can he come?" I was like, "Absolutely." So he comes and we get going. It's still a bit relatively, I don't know if tense is the right word, but
yeah.
Then I said to him, "You know what, Casper? I'm glad that you came. You know, I wanted to see if I should take the fight." We had Nathi Tetwa.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Nathi Tetwa came with his team.
Yeah.
Including a choir that sang.
Wow.
Beautiful, you know. But on his team, he had the guy that was, that was looking after the hip hop desk or portfolio. And he tells a story of when Kenan was a lighty, he booked him for a gig. But before Kenan performed was Double HP. And the crowd were in raptures.
Yeah.
And then he says this lighty came on, this scrawny lighty, colored boy.
Yeah.
For 20 minutes, he probably had one song in his catalog, but he held it down. And he could see that Kenan was going to be a legend.
Yeah.
You know, so it was amazing hearing those stories.
Yeah.
Then we had the night with all the friends. You know, that was also special. Figile Mbulula came with the premiere of Gauteng. And we had friends and family. Every day the house was full. House was full of flowers. Delicious food to eat. You know, my favorite. But those are other memories now. So, you know, it's obviously a sad time, a tragedy for us, but it you know, I take away also the good things. You know, seeing the love, and I still see the love today.
Oh, absolutely.
Today, I still see how people love him.
Yeah.
I guess the interview's over now.
Otherwise, we're going to go for the whole day.
We have to do something with that music, Royal School of Hip Hop.
Yeah.
Do you like my idea?
I love it. And
do you think some of that music can be, and which tracks? I feel Take It By Force.
Take It By Force
is as relevant today
important.
as it was back then.
I think Touch and Go.
Touch and Go.
So I think at least those two are very... Yeah.
Although, do you think it would be easy to make, making a remix in difficulty? Would it be relatively, or not as difficult to make remixes of some of those songs?
I think,
obviously there's some tracks with Luiso on.
Yeah. Gotta Be.
That'll be difficult, unless Luiso's on it.
Exactly.
The music itself, would we have to get all the, what are they called, the stem files?
The separates. I wonder if they even...
Does Sipho still have it?
That was, 2005. We should ask them. But there are also ways to remake, reinvent. But we should ask.
I think there's some songs on there that definitely...
No, I fully agree. It's always sad to me that it isn't more available just for people to go back to it.
And I think just exposing it to fans, you guys were talented. Like you could easily have gone on to be
And Nhlanhla, I think Kenan was by far the best performer. he later
Kekana was born to perform.
Yeah, I mean, he was just, he had this line, I was born to perform, keep it cracking till dawn. Nhlanhla was, I think, the best writer.
Yeah, it was lyric. Like if you listen to Take It By Force, what he says there.
Yeah, yeah.
What you gonna do when you're down and out?
Losing the spout.
And loses question, what you about? What you gonna say when your back's to the wall? Do you cover up, fight, bite, bullet, or brawl?
You still remember that. Uncle Tony?
I think we should do something. Huh?
I'd love to, but in a way that honors Kenan's memory.
Thank you very much,
appropriately. Thank you.
Spread the fire. What's the word?
Yeah, spread the fire.
Spread the fire.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Na 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 na